Hey, that's a crazy gift, Slim. That is a crazy gift, my nigga. Yo, what's happening, YouTube? We in this motherfucker. We about to do some reactions to some conspiracy theories. Let's get it rolling. Uh, oh, ow. Shout out to Fitty, iTrek. These two dudes that I actually watch. Their content is awesome. Y'all go check them out. Really dope dudes. Same with Art of Kicks. I'm not really trying to watch no one's like specific video. I'm trying to watch like an actual compilation. Shout out to Mod Tricker. But yeah, shit, we could do this. Oh, that's a year ago. I don't want nothing from a year ago. I want something recent. This month.
By helicopter to Bagram Airfield. And this is where our pilot picks up the story, and he's there to load the body. And so they had to weigh the cargo to put it on the airplane. And the loadmaster weighed like 1,500 pounds. Subtracting the pallet, the air cargo pallet, they knew that the body weighed exactly 1,100 pounds, or approximately, I should say, 1,100 pounds. But they knew that that was the weight because that was the weight that was being loaded onto the D-130. 1,100 pounds. So 12 foot tall, 1,100 pounds. Monster. And 6 fingers, 6 toes. And then the pilot, after they loaded the cargo, he had to take it to Qatar and unload it in Qatar. And then he told me he heard through the grapevine that the giant, the dead giant, ultimately made its way to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Now, he didn't know for sure, but that's what he heard.
Listen to the story, I'm over here thinking 1,100 pounds, that's not that heavy. Hell, I mean, even the 1,500 pounds, I thought the same thing. I'm like, that's not that heavy for the height that I thought they were going to allege this giant to be. But when they said around 12 feet, I was like, okay, that's more reasonable. For 1,100 pounds, I can see that. Because, hell, you got obese people that be 5'8", dang on getting over 600 pounds. For a giant to be 12 feet tall, 1,100 pounds, I wonder what was the physique of the giant. Was the giant overset? Like, was he a heavy giant, or was he like regular build for a giant? And what was the demeanor of the giant? Was the giant like normal, like friendly, like a
Bluetooth mode?
There you go.
monstrous, like they kind of alleged in this video? Ah, man, I want to know.
I'm a conspiracy theorist, but you don't have to be one.
Yeah, it's because I had to.
I'm a conspiracy
the speaker
theorist,
on.
but you don't
That was
have to
my
be
fault.
one to find this timeline interesting. In 2019, 5G networks started rolling out around the world, and shortly after, the very first cases of COVID started to appear. Now go back a little further. In 2009, 4G rolls out, and that's when the swine flu pandemic hits. In 1998, 3G technology starts spreading, and so does the avian flu. In 1991, 2G networks begin, and so does a major cholera outbreak. Go all the way back to the 70s when 1G starts appearing, and so does the Russian flu scare. Now around 1920, radio technology begins to spread across the world, right around the time of the Spanish flu pandemic. Now,
So basically, damn this shit, I can't hear nothing. Hold on. All right, noise canceling off. So basically, those of us who have survived all of these dang on different outbreaks and pandemics, because why not call them that since they know that since the freaking 1, 2, 3 all the way to 5G towers is causing this stuff, because they have to know that there's a correlation between the two. So basically, all of us that survived this stuff are like superior, right? That's what that means, right? Like if we're here today and we were around during any of these, from the 90s to now, 70s to now, then we're special. I mean, yeah, we're elite. That's what I'm gonna say. I didn't get none of that stuff except for the Rona. I did get that one because the 5G, that's strong, ain't it? That's what makes sense.
I'm not saying one is caused by the other, but when you line up the timelines, it makes you pause for a second. But what do I know? I'm just a conspiracy theorist. Let me know what you think.
I always wonder, is she ever gonna drink that whole entire glass of milk? Because that's a lot of milk. And most people are lactose intolerant. The farting comes after the drinking.
But to add on to what she was saying, that is pretty interesting, because I have heard of this before, seen this video about viruses being spread like through that, and through like the whole COVID-19 thing. People were saying that like there was military grade like weapons that was added to like the 5G towers and shit, and that's what was causing the COVID triggers in a lot of people. And it's crazy to see this, and like everything's like adding up. Like it's wild.
The glass of the milk. That's a good amount of milk. Or maybe she got little hands. Regardless, I feel like she don't be drinking it. Like she just take a sip. Maybe not even take a sip, because we didn't even see her take a sip. We saw her put it up to her lip, but she didn't take a sip. And then she pour it back in the jug or the carton, which is unsanitary. She have to live by herself to do that one, or have a carton with her own name on it.
Let me know what you think.
Candace Owens just connected Erica Kirk to Jeffrey Epstein, allegedly. In 2015, Erica begins tweeting about being a casting recruiter in LA. And then between 2015 and 2017, she's confirmed with multiple people who worked at Next Model Management, multiple people, that Erica is seen taking multiple meetings at Next Model Agency. And if you know, and if you've been following the Epstein files, this is one of the agencies where there were a lot of girls, beeped through, okay? Traffic? All right. Allegedly. So if you've already been following me, you know I covered Faith Cates a while back, but let me just refresh you with what Candace is saying. So she says Jeffrey Epstein is a regular at Next Model's management offices, as he is extremely close with the founder, Faith Cates. She will eventually be forced to step down because of the scandal. Candace says she believes that Erica knew Trump as well as Epstein well before she knew Charlie Kirk. This is huge. So the connection could be not just through the pageants that Trump was running, but also through modeling agency that Epstein was using to traffic women. So there's lots of connections here. And Candace calls it a lot of synergy between Epstein and Erica Kirk. So between 2015 and 2017, Erica is seen taking multiple meetings at Next Model Management with Faith Cates business guys. In particular, this modeling company procured a lot of Eastern European models. Romania, anybody? And it's unclear why Erica was involved with the modeling agency at all. Candace goes on to say that she, of course, went out to Erica Kirk for comment. And she's given her about 48 hours, and all she has received is crickets, silence, no comment. And if you guys have been following me, you know that I've made a possible connection between Erica Kirk's Turning Point network, Turning Point Action, and Epstein's former Zorro Ranch, which is now called San Rafael Ranch, and owned by Duff Huffins, whose son is on Trump's cabinet, and Turning Point Action has endorsed him. Do you guys think I should email Candace about this other possible Erica Kirk connection? Allegedly, in my opinion, possibly.
The young man that's on Donald Trump's cabinet that now owns Jeffrey Epstein's ranch out in Mexico or New Mexico, wherever the hell it was, did he have to pay for it? Or did they just hand it to him? Did Jeffrey pay it off? Look, these are not the questions that y'all thought I would be asking right now, but that's just where my mind went. Because the only thing I really got to say about Erica Kirk is she probably is what we all think her to be, is a plant. planted by the government, CIA, military, whomever care to use her for whatever agenda that they're trying to push forward. They probably saw Charlie Kirk being a problem early on and used her to set him up for assassination. Remember, these are just theories.
What I'm about to tell you will blow your
hey.
mind. Fiennes and his wife are the new owners of Epstein's Zorro Ranch via a shell company. Epstein's ranch is owned by a man who funds newborn heart cell harvesting. Fiennes is CEO of Hest, which invests in secretome therapeutics, which takes cells harvested from the hearts of newborns under 30 days old for the treatment of cardiovascular disease. I repeat, newborns. The new owner of Zorro Ranch is funding this developing therapy. Here's Fiennes with Steve Bannon, who is also in the Epstein files extensively. Fiennes' son is on Trump's cabinet. There are only 3 scientists in the whole world who specialize.
Hey, so to add on to this is, well, not even to add on to this, but it has to do with Zorro Ranch, and it just I got to thinking and some shit started to clicking. So y'all know Zorro Ranch was the ranch in New Mexico that Jeffrey Epstein owned, where he was doing eugenics and like doing experiments and shit. So it's a big ass. It's a big lot of land. What if this nigga's got like a underneath bunker type lab situation, like they cloned Tyrone. Like when they found out like the labs were in those homes, like what if they got something like that going on? And you see that the person who owns Zorro Ranch is like doing this shit, so like it's definitely raising some flags.
In this research, and one of them, Eric Olson, appears twice in the Epstein files. Candace has recently connected Erica Kirk and Epstein via Next Modeling Agency, allegedly. If you've been following, I've done a deep dive as well. Turning Point Action has recently endorsed him in his campaign for Texas Comptroller. So is this another connection between Erica Kirk and Epstein? If you know anything about Zorro Ranch, you know that there have been very disturbing allegations. I have an entire Epstein series on it. Epstein told a fellow eugenist that he hoped to freeze his brain and his little manhood down there at death so that his organs could be revived for future transhumanism. If you've been following me, you also know that I found out that the Fiennes alleged that they're going to put a Christian retreat on their new ranch. Lisa Valdez says that the only reason that they even said that they're trying to build a Christian retreat is because they got caught digging illegally without permits, allegedly. So they purchased it in 2023 and tried to hide their names in a shell company. But then Clara Bates, a reporter, she found
They definitely put stuff in movies for a reason. Like, Young Pharaoh said they put is part of universal law. Like, they have to tell us what they're gonna do before they do it, and their way of doing that is putting it in movies and TV shows, because when they do it in that, we technically accept it, but because it's on TV, we think it's fake, so we don't necessarily like apply it to our life, but we're still accepting of it in a sense.
Found out their identity and revealed it. And at that point is when they said, oh, we're just doing a Christian retreat, that's why we're digging. But Elisa Valdez says that she tried to find paperwork on that, and there's no paper trail showing that they are making this Christian retreat. When I found out that Turning Point Action had endorsed Fiennes, I made a post about it, and many of you guys said that I should email Candace Owens, and many of you tagged her, so thank you for that. For this post, please tag any major content creators that you know who are covering Epstein. I believe that this deserves attention and further investigation. By no means am I alleging anything illegal or unethical. If you can, please take the time to read Lisa Valdez Rodriguez, her write-up. She did a 4-part series, and it goes way deeper than I did. So check it out. Everything in this post is alleged, and in my opinion, in her opinion.
Today I paid out 2 of my subscribers $100 each for playing games on their phone and winning free cash. And I got another $100 bill that's burning in my pocket that I'm looking to pay to one of you all. Just scan the QR code on my screen or hit the link down in the description box below, and you can play video games and win free cash. And for the next person that can send me a screenshot of them earning $100 or more, playing the games using my links, I'm going to send you $100. But you gotta show me the screenshot of you depositing the funds in your account. And by the end of this month, I'm gonna pay out another $100 to 3 more of you guys. So y'all got plenty of opportunities to start playing now and winning free money. Just click the link down in the description box or scan the QR code on the screen.
Exactly.
And get started today.
Make it seem like it's fiction.
Was just given a position with the U.S.
Makes
military
it hard
in leadership
to-
that will help oversee
to
one of the
believe.
most
Makes it
elite
hard for us
military
to think
academies
it's
in the
our-
country.
our
So
reality.
the obvious question is, why Erica Kirk? Why now? And why is somebody with zero military background suddenly in an important leadership role connected to the oversight of future U.S. military leadership? Because the timing is strange. This just happened right as geopolitical tensions are rising. We're seeing more and more discussions about military readiness. They're suddenly reappearing in the national conversation, and the political rhetoric around the conflict is escalating almost daily. And at the same time, Donald Trump is facing growing political pressure while the United States and its allies are staring down a rapidly escalating situation involving Iran. And that context matters. Appointments inside structures connected to the U.S. military don't happen overnight, and they certainly don't tend to appear quietly during moments of very intense geopolitical tension. Decisions about who sits inside institutions that shape future military leadership are normally very deliberate and highly visible, which is why this one immediately raises eyebrows. And we only noticed it because we have Erica Kirk alerts set up, and this was covered in a small outlet in Colorado. They picked up the story before any national press did. It barely registered anywhere else, not even on Twitter. But once you look at the role Erica Kirk has been placed into, and once you start connecting it to everything else happening right now, the situation becomes really interesting. And about war, political promises, and institutions that shape the next generation of military leadership are a big deal. Because if you just rewind just a few months from the central message from Donald Trump and now J.D. Vance during their campaign, that they were going to market with messaging that America needed to avoid being dragged into another major conflict. They repeatedly warned that the country was heading straight towards new wars and argued that ordinary Americans would end up paying the price. One of the most emotionally powerful lines in that campaign was the idea that voters were choosing between endless foreign wars with Kamala and a government that would keep the country out of them. That message resonated with a lot of voters. Fast forward to today, and the tone of that conversation looks super different. We have now tensions involving Iran, which have escalated rapidly. Analysts are now openly debating how far the situation could spiral, and suddenly Washington is talking about military readiness, again, in a way that we haven't heard in years, in my lifetime. And then the draft conversation started resurfacing. The United States hasn't had to use conscription in decades, but the moment the word draft even enters a conversation...
Do y'all believe that she's a plant now? I mean, I wonder what Candace Owens thinks about this.
In today's episode of Everybody Grieves Differently, and by the way, I should say we are in like season 17, episode 4. You know, the writers are running out of ideas and they're just putting up things that don't even make sense anymore.
My name is Skylar White, yo.
Are you stupid?
My husband is Walter White, yo.
Get out!
Yeah, well, on today's episode, President Trump has appointed Erica Kirk to the Air Force Academy's Board of Visitors. Now, if you would like to know how that further empowers this world-renowned widow who is definitely grieving, I will explain that to you. Is she qualified? Of course not. Not even a little bit. Doesn't even matter. Yeah. Yeah. I'm here for it. I love it. That's what you need to know on this Tuesday morning. So you get back to work, Goyam. You'll be lucky if you ever pay off those student loans, pay down that mortgage. Erica Kirk, on the other hand, well, she's just being handed promotions. In case you missed it, her husband died. So now she will be advising the Department of Defense. I don't know. With this appointment, Erica joins just 15 other members. That's how exclusive this board is. There's just 15 other members, and they are responsible, just so you understand what the job requires, they're responsible for making recommendations to the Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, regarding changes to the Air Force Academy. They're also tasked with providing an annual report regarding the Military Institute's morale its finances, its financial state, and its academics. Now, you might be wondering right now, how on earth is Erica Kirk, how did she really just graduate from an apparent stay-at-home mother to suddenly being qualified to submit financial, academic, and military morale reports to the Defense Secretary of the United States? And if you're wondering that, you should know that you're everybody. We are all wondering this, but I don't know, guys. Her husband died. That's what I'm told. We are just constantly being reminded that her husband died. Therefore, hey, she could be president one day.
This makes no sense.
That's what Charlie said, allegedly. There's no, so we can't see where he said it, but he did say it. He just happened to say that she's going to be president one day. And some would say that maybe it's starting to look like a Claire Underwood from House of Cards situation. Maybe we don't feel so great about her ambition in this moment. But those people, you should dispel what they're saying. They would be wrong. Because the experts have explained things very clearly. And the experts say Erica is qualified because Charlie was qualified. She's literally just taking his place. Anything he can do, she can do better.
But she's not just taking Charlie's place, because last time I checked, Charlie wasn't getting these sort of promotions. Charlie wasn't bumping heads and making these sort of connections. If anything, Charlie was starting to go against these institutions because he was beginning to see them for who and what they really were. It's really starting to feel like these people are just characters in a movie, and we're the audience sitting back watching this whole thing unfold, and we don't really know what's going to happen next. This is definitely one of those movies that was not written very well, and the casting is horrible. They need to hire new actors. But going back to that initial video with that woman that broke the story before Candace did, when she mentioned that part about American citizens having to pay the price for the war that we're fighting, but not knowing the real reason why, oil. I feel like whenever U.S. is short on the oil supply, that's when they go into these other countries and try to take over, alleging that the real reason that they're there is because they're trying to take down the dictatorship and to make these countries better.
Princess Diana, before she died, he said these people are actually reptilians.
Yes.
She said they're from some Dranconian star system or some crazy shit.
And then they crash her.
Yeah, and they crash her. When a human being eats another human being, it causes brain damage. When that happens, it's like, okay, how much can you actually do that before you actually, it's to the detriment of your, yeah, exactly. So for these people to do that for this extended period of time, it's like, maybe you're not human.
Yeah. Rothschild has been around hundreds of years. I think that they have the blood of some extraterrestrial that from the very start.
You think they're like hybrids?
Kind of, yes.
Some type of lineage or something that makes sense to where it's connected to them.
The Rothschilds, man. That the name alone just sounds like a group of vampires to me. I don't know. But if it's true what they say, that overconsumption of human meat can cause all type of sicknesses, including brain damage, and it would make perfect sense that these people aren't actually people, but lizards or some sort of non-humanoid.
So you go, and we were with 20 other strangers, and you all line up at like the edge of the rainforest over this weird fence, and you go 3 by 3, and you drink lemongrass tea until you, like, by not your own volition, just vomit everything out of your body. So you have
to vomit. There's no way around that part.
You can't get out of it, and you have to vomit a certain amount before they let you get back with everybody. So you're like cheering on everyone as they like throw up. And as like what we do, obviously, we were like, am I ready to just like throw up in front of all of these people? But it's such a good bonding experience. And I know it sounds crazy, but that gets you ready to then go into the ceremony that night, because you're like, my vanity is gone. I've just done this in front of all of these strangers, and like now I'm ready to like really open up. So we did it for 3 nights. It was incredibly intense. I went to, everybody's journey is different. The second night I went to hell for eternity. Yeah.
Is she saying that in the hypothetical sense, like she took some sort of drug, almost like DMT, and it made her go to hell, or like it made her go to a place in her mind where she felt like she was in hell for eternity? No, she didn't say it like that. It sounded more literal, like she actually went to hell for eternity. Wow. I can only imagine that statement would imply that her soul is destined to spend the rest of eternity in hell. How they be signing up for this shit? Oh shit!
Oh fuck no.
Yo, that scared the mess out of me, man. That little boy dropping down to his knees and crawling back behind what I'm assuming was his mother was very telling. It was almost as if he was so uncomfortable being in the presence of, I'm assuming was the queen, that he had to remove himself from that situation. And then the horse doing the same sort of thing. It almost sounds silly to say that both children and animals would be more susceptible to things that we are less susceptible to, like these people being potential lizards. But if it's true that they're contaminating our food with all these different chemicals that are keeping us suppressed, keeping us dumb, keeping us unable to tap into our true power and senses, then is it that difficult to believe that they have us adults right where they want us?
Give it 20 years from now, there's going to be unclassified documents, the same way they did with the brain gate theory, showing that we can have telekinesis and we can hemi-sync our brains, we can see through walls, and now with CIA declassified documents proving these things. It's going to be the same thing on that, on how so-called Apple, give it 20 years from now, there's going to be unclassified documents, the same way they did with the brain gate theory, showing that we can have telekinesis and we can hemi-sync our brains, we can see through walls, and now with CIA declassified documents proving these things. It's going to be the same thing on that, on how so-called African Americans or melanated beings in the world have supernatural powers that they have been suppressing through pharmaceutical companies.
But when I say we got powers, people look at me
that are
crazy.
very, very ultra processed, through contaminated fluoride poisoned water.
Hey, Slim.
Candies that have hyperactive
This is what I
sugar
was talking
molecules
about.
in it. There is a reason why they keeping us doped and drugged up, because it suppresses our genes and it suppresses our cells and it suppresses our ability to be like gods. We are made after its image and after its likeness, so that means we possess the very unique abilities and powers that our creator possessed, and they figured it out before. I'm not going to even say they figured it out before us. They came and suppressed our ancestors, and then they taught us a different education to make us believe that we were human beings, and we not. And biology tell us that.
Of course, a pro-black man as he is will relay all that information as if it's unique to the black community, but it's not. We've seen countless stories with people of all nationalities, literally all nationalities, that possess some unhuman-like traits and powers, things that the average person wouldn't deem imaginable. To think, if they're putting these chemicals in our food to suppress our abilities and powers, is not just affecting the black community, but everyone who consumes the food. Hell, I recently heard that fluoride in the water affects the pineal gland in your brain.
You know about how like birth control's in all water now? I didn't know that. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that's poisoning us that we should be like really concerned about right now.
There's birth control in the water.
Yeah. One, Alex Jones was right about the atrazine and what it does to frogs.
I like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Two, there's a bunch of other stuff that's probably androgenizing us that's not good. You know, women take hormonal birth control. They then, urinate, that goes into the water system. A lot of cities recycle their water, but we don't have any specific filtration mechanism for those hormones. So they just get recycled and pumped back into the municipal water supply.
So is this like a significant amount of birth control in the water?
Yes.
And there's an infertility problem?
Yes.
How does it affect males, do you know?
It makes you more asexual. Yeah, so it makes you less of a guy and more of a sort of, I don't know, like the way that most guys are now.
The way that most guys are now.
Yeah.
I've heard there's so many conspiracies about the chemtrails, and I've heard that they're spraying estrogen in the air to...
Well, let me tell you something, though.
Oh, shit, here we go.
So, the material that we use, it freezes the liquid in cloud into snowflakes that fall, right? Pure testosterone. It's not as effective, but it's almost as effective as silver iodide. So, if we really want to make America healthy again...
No! He was about to tell us how to make America great again. By making Americans healthy again, man. Like, what was he about to say? Now I gotta go freaking watch that whole podcast episode, because that was some good information. Alex Jones said that about the frogs being gay. I knew you were telling the truth.
The red are the executives that are Jewish at these companies. If you go to Apple right now, go to Apple Music. Let's load up the top 10 songs. I guarantee you they're promoting black serial killing. Absolutely. Not just one. They're promoting black. The red media is making money off of blacks being serial killers to each other. Also misogynistic.
That's a fact.
The red media is making money off of that. And God sees it. But I understand, and I'm not judging because the oppressed becomes the oppressor. And it is our time now. Blacks are coming into money. We are not scared anymore. And I showed you.
You hear how sane Kanye really sounds when he makes these statements that sound outlandish. I've literally seen artists come out and state publicly that they're paid to make music about crime amongst black people. Mm-hmm. And then the youth hears it, and then what do? They get out there in the streets. They get into the drug selling game. They commit crimes and acts of violence because they think that that's what they have to do in order to become successful. And these media companies know this. They know what they're promoting. But the black community hurting one another makes a Jewish man very rich. Ain't that something?
I bet you didn't know this. Watch this to the end.
I'm reading Tiny Hats Selling the Slaves. Oh yeah, they forgot to mention all of this in the Rockefeller schools. And people say that's not true. Well, you should read this one. This guy was a rabbi who wrote this one. And you know the term layaway? That came from when rabbis were selling slaves. Yes. And this has pages and pages of all the auctions and the rabbis selling the slaves. Check this, Jacob Coven, okay, owned a plantation.